It's not very often that I feel very compelled to talk about Fire Emblem Heroes, especially over the mic. Usually my showcases are much more visual and I have some kind of fancy anime opening, but today, that's not the case. I feel like I have to actually narrate some of this because I kind of broke the game. I figured out some stuff and I wanted to share it with you guys, so this is going to be kind of unscripted and I'm going to have footage playing in the background to sort of illustrate what I'm talking about so you guys can understand it even more. But this has to do with the most recent banner, and more specifically the savior skills. So let's start off with the basics and sort of break it down and talk about what these skills are. There's two savior skills. They're on Valentine's Gustav and Valentine's Henriette, and these skills are busted. The only problem with this banner is that it's color sharing to get them, so you're gonna have to sink in quite a few orbs if you're unlucky, and it's not guaranteed. But I'm convinced they did this on purpose because they are so good, so good. If you have to pick one or the other, I would pick the far save one that's on Valentine's Henriette. Essentially, there's two types, and the way they work is that if you're within two spaces of the ally that has the savior skill equipped in the C slot, they'll save you. And they're broken down into two different ones. There's near save and there's far save. And so very self-explanatory. The near save one will save you if you're attacked from close range. So sword, lance, axe, beast, and dragon, I guess. And far save saves you if you're attacked from a ranged unit. So any kind of magic, bows, daggers, staves. And I don't know, maybe they'll come out with like throwing, lances or whatever in the future. Javelins, hand axes, yay! Yeah, and they'll fix it. But that's basically what it boils down to. It's a drive save skill, and what it does is it moves the unit with the save skill on top of the unit that is being attacked. If you directly attack someone with a save skill, it doesn't work unless you're saving the savior. I'm sure people are going to come up with all sorts of shenanigans with multiple save skills on like Aether Raid's defense or whatever. It'll be completely disgusting. But in a nutshell, that's what they do. You get, I think, 4 attack and resistance in combat for the far save, and you get 4 defense and res for the near save, which is actually a better stat boost in combat, but it covers more defense and res. It doesn't give you attack. So, it's a pick your poison kind of battle. They're both pretty good. I think the far save is far more useful. Now, how they work exactly and the little intricacies of them is what I spent, a few hours figuring out between yesterday and today in testing. And here's what I came up with. Basically, your savior unit will move from the tile they are on to the tile that the unit being attacked is occupying, and I'll have this all demonstrated on screen. This unit that moves is treated as being adjacent to the unit that it moves to. What do I mean by that? There are a bunch of skills out there in Fire Emblem Heroes that proc based on whether or not you are adjacent to an ally, within 2 spaces of an ally, or solo, being on your own. So any skill that has you being as adjacent will proc. This unit is treated as adjacent, so the savior unit specifically. So if the unit you are warping to has something like a spur, the spur will activate. If your savior unit has a bond, the bond will activate. If your savior unit is Mamori, for example, who has a weapon that is based on being in range of allies and gives her stats, that one will be guaranteed activation. Winter Felix's bow, the one that also needs you to be within 2 spaces of an ally, will also activate. All of these skills that ask you to be either adjacent or within 2 spaces, all of them will activate on your savior unit. This also means that any skill that you give, like a drive or a spur or any effect that activates if the unit being saved can buff another unit, that will also activate. So units like Kaden, like Brave Lucina, like Male Corrin that gives stats to units that are within 2 spaces or adjacent, all of this activates. So this is going to come for some very, very interesting shenanigans. The caveat to this, however, is that because your unit moves away from the space that they were once in, if they were within range of a buff or a drive or a spur before, that will vanish. So if, let's say, your unit is next to a drive unit and they move 2 spaces away to save someone, that drive effect is no longer active on that unit. So, just whenever you're building your teams, you can try and take advantage of this if you want to use it. In normal play, this is going to be completely amazing because let's be real, like most of the units that we use if we're trying to beat like a abyssal map or something, you usually get your dancer attacked in the back line or something like that. Now all you have to do is be within 2 spaces and ranged units can't touch your dancer, they'll be forced to attack your tank. One thing that also does not work are solo skills. Because it treats you as adjacent, your solo skill will not activate if you move to save a unit. So never give your savior unit any kind of solo skill. That'll be completely useless. Now the next thing I want to talk about is Bramimond, because Bramimond has been kind of notorious in AR for being a really big pain in the ass. And the savior skills work against Bramimond. His C skill, Impenetrable Dark, is known for negating skill buffs, but only in combat. Savior skills activate outside of combat first, and then you are in combat with that unit. So, and the examples on the screen, you'll be able to see this in full demonstration. This skill just works against Bramimond because it procs out of combat. So this is extremely useful for protecting from that kind of unit. In addition, I want to show you a demonstration of how Savior skills are going to be amazing on Aether Raid's offense. So this team is one of the most recent teams that utilize the combo of Sarah and Winter Bernadetta for rescue traps. And this team is absolutely bonkers. It's like a combination of Cavline, but also of some very interesting AI demonstrations. I'll leave a link in the description to a video that I think explains it better than I ever could. So if you're interested in building something like this and you have the units in question, go for it. But what I'm going to do here is, because I understand how this trap works, I'm going to let the unit AI do what it wants, and I'm just going to let Hector save everyone. Cavlines are really only annoying because they attack your backline units, but if you structure your units in a way that I have here, where Hector can basically save anyone that's attacked from range, you'll very quickly see that nothing in this team is a threat to my Brave Hector at all. Like, he just saves, he gets increased resistance, he obliterates all of them. I think if you have this save skill, Cavline is dead to you in AR. Like, you really should not be worried about it at all. I'm sure they'll come out with skills that negate save eventually, and it might be a problem. But at the moment, if you have a Cavline in AR, you should be shaking in your boots, because I'm coming for you. Like, you're not going to be able to run away. I'll even ignore the pots and just give you your minus 80 or minus 100 just to annoy you, just to spite you like I did to this person. So it really is just absolutely annihilating Cavline teams, or any team that is focused around attacking your weak backline units. If you can save them with a savior unit from a distance, ranged units are cooked in AR. Like, they're done now if you have a really good tank. And so I would recommend people like Brave Hector. Brave Hector is just good without any merges with a savior skill. Because of the way his weapon refine is, he's just busted. And I gave him a distant defense seal. Like, my guy isn't even very heavily invested. He just has special fighter, which is pretty common nowadays, and distant defense. And then everything else is pretty stock, outside of the savior, of course. And yeah, he'll just kill everyone, he'll save everyone, it'll make Aether Raids a joke. If you want to go to Vault of Heroes or whatever, there you go, now's your chance, do it. And you can use it on defense too. I'm not going to show you my defense team because it's still under, or maybe I will, I don't know, I might leave the footage there later. But this video is getting way too long, and I feel like I've done a decently good enough job of demonstrating savior skills. The combos, like I said before, it works really well with Caden, Brave Lucina, Corrin, and those are some support units. Like, you can even have your support units on the front line and just save them from behind. The range this skill covers is insane. It's disgusting. Like, your armor is basically covering 4 spaces all around, depending on where your units are. It's absolutely crazy. A few people who are good candidates for this skill based on their weapons and their weapon effects are people like Brave Hector, Winter Felix, Spring Adun if you have her. Kanegus is really good as well because he can be out of range of other people and transform and get his DC. Brave Edelgard, of course, is a good user of it as well because of her bulk. Like, even at +0, these units are very viable for it. Mamory is really good too, and Gustav himself is actually excellent because of the way his weapon works, and because it's a close save, so you don't even really need to give him like a distant counter or a close counter or anything like that because it's a close save. So anyone really with a weapon that has DC is excellent with these, and you can run something like a distant defense 4 in your A slot. Get creative with it. Show me what you got. Leave suggestions in the comments and stuff like that. But that's about it. I don't have much more to say. Let me know what you think and if this is going to break the game, and I'll see you guys in a new video very, very soon. Peace.